For today's deck tech,
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
because we are talking about Charix, the Raging Isle. This commander was suggested by commenter GetFrogMonster, so thank them for suggesting this surprisingly versatile commander. Here's some reasons why you should play Charix. 1. Very budget friendly, clocking in at under $16. 2. Beginner friendly strategy as well as being one color. 3. It's a ton of fun to smack opponents with a giant flying crab. 4. You can pivot a few different ways to win the game, though they all involve smacking people with the crab. If that's not enough for you, maybe diving into the deck tech will convince you so. Charix, the Raging Isle is a 4-mana, 2 generic, 2 blue, 0/17 legendary creature Leviathan Crab that says, spells your opponent's cast that target Charix, the Raging Isle costs 2 more to cast, and pay 3 mana. Charix gets +X, -X until end of turn, where X is the number of islands you control. Charix is not afraid to throw their weight around, so we want to lean into that. Problem? All the power is on the wrong end of the card. So, how do we get around that? Well, we have a couple options. Flip the power and toughness, which can be excellent in almost one-shot players. Turn the toughness into how we deal damage, or mill out our opponents. Granted, each one of these presents its own unique problems, but we will get into that as we dive into these all-you-can-eat crab legs. Starting with the creatures that get the deck moving. We got things to make mana to get our commander out faster or power its ability to smack our opponents. Hedron Crawler, Mannequin, Ornithopter of Paradise, Sea Scryer, Silvermere, Apprentice Wizard, Palladium Mirror, and Honorary Mana Dork, though you can't use the mana to cast things, Omen Hawker. Next, let's switch things up, and by that, I mean things that switch power and toughness. Merfolk Thaumaturgist, Crookclaw Transmuter, and Inversion Behemoth. This deck usually wins with equipment and artifacts, so to make sure we have those, Loyal Inventor, Trinket Mage, and Deadeye Quartermaster. Of course, we have other things to do this, but this is just in the creatures. Here are the odd and end creatures before we cover win cons. Triton Wavebreaker, Armguard Familiar, Corrupted Shapeshifter, Paragon of Gathering Mists, helps keep our commander from dying when we switch power and toughness. Profaner of the Dead can help keep the board clear, and Arcane Proxy makes sure we can reuse important spells. Unfortunately, it's only on our turn since it doesn't have flash. Now for the win cons. Walking Bulwark is a house and is usually how we win the game. Imperious Mindbreaker switches us to a mill strategy. Even if you never boost Charix toughness, it only takes 4 attacks, sometimes less depending on how many cards opponents are drawing or if they are milling themselves. Elite Arcanist can do a very poor man's impression of a Dramatic Scepter combo, but we also use other instants that can be a huge help. Lastly, Whirler Rogue comes with 2 Thopters and guarantees our commander gets in unblocked, which most of the time is a death sentence. Sliding into our sorceries, Birthday Escape tempts our commander, making it virtually unblockable. Slip Through Space draws us a card. Anchor to Reality puts an artifact directly onto the battlefield. Once you have one piece or the other, which we will cover in artifacts, you can grab the piece you are missing. Whelming Wave is almost a one-sided bounce spell since our commander will stick around, ready to rave all over our opponents. Reverse Engineer is card draw. In response, let's talk about our instance. Twisted Image is one of the best cards you could copy with the Arcanist if you want to just keep dealing haymakers out to your opponent. Dramatic Reversal will grab us a little extra mana some turns, or we can use it to combo off, like I said. Muddle the Mixture is a counterspell, but more often than not, it's just a way to search for a piece we need. Negate, Reverse Polarity can do a couple different things, but importantly, it either switches power and toughness, or makes all our creatures unblockable. And I guess it's also a potential counterspell. Foil gives us a way to protect ourselves during shields down moments. Lastly, Reality Heist lets us look 7 cards deep and add 2 artifacts to our hand. Now, artifacts are the second biggest chunk of the deck. Sure, you've got mana rocks like Wayfarer's Bauble, it gets a land, I call it a mana rock, Sky Diamond, and Worn Power Stone. One oddball, Hall of Triumph, just to make sure again, when you swap power and toughness, you don't just kill your crab. And Voyager Staff for some blinking potential, in case you want to reuse an ETB or save your commander from a board wipe. The rest are equipment to make sure that our crab is swinging for the fences. Cliffhaven Kite Sail, Giant's Amulet, Mantle of Tides, Masterwork of Ingenuity, Hero Hero's Blade, Inquisitor's Flail, Ring of Evocile, the Key to the Vault, which helps dig into the deck and cast something, Fire Shrieker and Brass Knuckles for double strike, Mask of the Schemer, Robe of the Archmagi. The last set of equipment helps give our commander Defender, so Walking Bulwark can help our commander hit with toughness rather than power. Peregrine Mask, and Dragon Throne of Tarkir. All of these are easily searchable with our other cards and can be assembled rather quickly. Moving into our enchantments, which are just more things to either help our commander go unblocked or draw us cards. Combat Research gives an additional Ward 2, making it Ward 4 total to target our commander, and when it deals combat damage, we draw a card. Eel Umbra for board wipe protection, Ordeal of Thassa for counters, Security Bypass to go unblocked, Sword Coast Sailor, again for more unblockable, Zephyr Net gives Defender for Walking Bulwark and Flying so our commander is evasive. And lastly, Infiltrator's Mark so we can dropkick our opponents in the face. Lands? It's pretty basic. Access Tunnel, Rogue's Passage, and 35 Islands. That's it, that's the deck. No real combos to explore, just good old-fashioned Voltron. If you like the deck and want to upgrade it, a Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Thought Vessel, Decanter of Endless Water, or Reliquary Tower are all great additions because they help with how many cards can end up in your hand, so you don't have to discard the good stuff. If you're looking for more ways to get the proper artifacts into play, Whir of Invention, Reshape, and Fabricate can help. Lastly, we gotta protect the crab, so Counterspell, Arcane Denial, Strict Serenade, or Swan Song can be big additions to make sure we secure the crab.
The only thing a crab is good for is holding back other crabs. A crab don't want to see another crab make it.
Slicing into cards to cut. The deck is already pretty streamlined in how it wins and what it wants to do. However, there are a few cards to axe. Triton Wavebreaker is good and can help push us across the finish line, but it's usually only good for 1 or 2 power and only on occasion, so for that, I'd cut it. Arcane Proxy is good, but it's not instant speed, so it's very telegraphed what you're doing. I'd cut it. Slip Through Space is good, but it's a one-time effect versus something that could be a little more permanent. Cut it. And Hall of Triumph is okay, but I'm sure there are better anthems out there. Well, that's the deck with some upgrades and cards to cut. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe as it goes a long way to supporting the channel, and I appreciate it so much. Comment a commander you would like to see built on a budget or your favorite card from the deck. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.